Hello,
everybody.
This is Mike,
This is Holly.
and welcome to another optimized virtual meetup where our coaches and other folks can join us to talk about all things optimize and how to optimize your life. At least that's how I understand what this is supposed to be. Based upon current attendance, I think it's going to be another conversation between myself and Holly, and that's just fine.
Yeah.
Because last week we left you with the little tidbit of, well, maybe we'll cover the things that Optimize has actually helped change in our lives.
Yes.
So either way, before we fully get going here, what are we going to do? Probably do a breeze to calm ourselves, ground us, get us connected with the present moment and our bodies. So you can do this thing eyes open, eyes closed, sitting, standing, laying, whatever you want to do. Just follow along, or at least imagine what's happening, right? So we're all going to start by syncing our breath. So what we do is we breathe in through our nose, down into our belly. And if you don't really know what that is, I don't know how to explain it to you. Just try to breathe down here. You might feel your back of your chest. I've heard it explained, breathe down into the back of your chest and you'll feel your rib cage expand there a little bit. And that's always, I like doing that. That's kind of nice. But breathe in through the nose, out through whatever you want. And we're going to sync our breaths on an in count of 6, hold for 2, out for 7. So we'll go in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe in for 6. Hold for 2, out for 7. Inhale and energize. Feel that energy growing within you. Exhale and allow that energy to feel your entire body. Let it do its work. Inhale, feeling tall, telos. Pull the thread through the top of your head. Feel yourself lengthen and expand as you breathe in. Exhale with a heroic heart. Chest up, chin down. Feel the love in your heart. Give it to the world. Inhale. Eudaimon. That's the best version of you. See that best version. Be that best version. Now exhale with a smile. It's kind of tough to do those because I'm not really doing them, so I lose my count. And I don't practice enough to actually feel like it's a worthy thing. But nevertheless, here we are, and it's on video. So track my suckage to one day I might actually be good at it. That's how it works, though.
I think you did a good job.
Yeah, sure. So these things roughly are 40 minutes to 1 hour long. So theoretically, we're going till 10 o'clock or until whenever our children decide to
lose patience,
want and or need our attention. So the max here is an hour. That's all I'm saying. So, I mean, last week we left off with moving towards the direction of optimize and how it benefited our lives. So
yes.
At the end of the last year, they asked a question of like, what's the one thing that changed in your life? Like, what's the biggest change, the biggest positive effect? What do you think that was for you or is for you right now, since you're a level 1 trainee in the trenches?
Yeah. So, for me, I'd say that I'm more of a, I'm more of a positive person now. I used to think that I was positive, but like I was mentioning last week, I was positive towards everybody else, but I wasn't very kind or positive towards myself. So, um,
All right,
yeah,
I get that.
yeah. So,
So far right now,
so far as of right now,
level 1
my
trainee
level 1 training,
is positivity
positivity
towards
and
yourself.
self-awareness, I guess.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, last year when they asked the question to me, my initial answer was sleep, because we had a drastic overhaul of our sleep system.
Yes.
I mean, before I joined the optimized program, our typical thing a couple of years ago was we would sit down at the end of the night, kids would go to bed, we'd sit down. Holly's favorite snack was, and probably still is, sour cream, salsa, and chips. So at 9 o'clock, we're eating sour cream, salsa, and chips. We're watching Supernatural or whatever we're into at the time.
Yeah.
Typical bedtime was anywhere from 10:30 to 11:30. We're getting up at 6:30 or 6:45. I need to be out the door at 7. So I gave myself a gigantic 15-minute window to get ready for work. So last year, when we did the optimized thing, I mean, that whole thing changed.
Yes.
Because in the optimized program, they're going to tell you, and I'm going to tell you, your day starts the night before. Your AM's truly that PM, right? Your day begins the night before. And if you begin to pay attention, you're going to recognize that if you make mistakes in the evening, they're going to carry over into the morning.
Mm-hmm.
So the gigantic change that we made was not only ending, we stopped eating our snacks a couple years ago. Well,
yeah,
two. We changed that. We cut that out. But last year,
yeah, we stopped eating snacks after 7 o'clock.
That was last year. Mm-hmm.
It was when we started the whole Tim Ferriss. No.
We stopped eating after 9.
Oh yeah,
when we
I guess
began,
it was. Yeah, it was
we
after
began
9.
our little slow carb journey. That's what you're talking about.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. So I guess it has only been about a year since we stopped.
Yeah. So we cut out the snacks, but we still had the nighttime television.
Instead
had
of snacks, I drank a glass or 2 of wine before going to bed.
Mm-hmm. Look, transitions aren't perfect, and they don't have to be perfect. I mean, I was watching some fellow optimizers in their event that they were doing yesterday, and my comment in there, they asked, what your nightly routine looked like, and somebody asked the question of how to do it with your partner. That's a common issue when you're trying to fix your nighttime schedule. And what I did, because the television was Holly's connection with me, what I did was I literally just put earplugs in my ears, covered my eyes, went to sleep on the couch. So at least I was still there. And over time,
a half-hearted snuggle.
She transitioned with me.
Yeah.
It took a while. I wasn't like, you need to do it, because that's not how you get things done. She transitioned with me. Now we've got a digital sunset. We don't have the television on. Typically, I mean, the TV's off at 7:30 to 8.
Yes. And
after that, we're not going to bed till 10:15. So it's over 2 hours. I mean, I'm 0 screens. I got my blue light blockers on most of the time. I'm getting ready for bed. And that was a gigantic change. And what all I can say is that change had probably the biggest positive effect on our lives last year. Yo, Meredith, if you want to say hi,
Come say hi.
just do it, okay?
Well, then stop tickling my back.
Honey, please, this isn't.
Come on.
Dad, anything you say before butt doesn't count.
Dean, I can't hear you, man. I got headphones. What?
Anything you say before butt doesn't count.
Yeah, I'm trying. I'm trying to demonstrate
Okay,
a
come
level of calmness here
Yeah.
that, honey, it's hard to think when you're
Yes. Come on.
back there playing because I catch you. Thank you, honey.
Thank you, my love.
So yeah, I would have said, and I did say that sleep was the biggest thing that changed in my life. But the more that I thought about it, I don't think that was the biggest change. I think the biggest change in my life last year was awareness. You know, when you take the time to identify the things that are important to you, you write them down, you say, these are the things that are important to me, and you track whether or not you did it, yes or no, and you do that multiple times a day or at least once a day, you're going to build a pretty good level of awareness of when you're on and when you're off.
Yes.
I almost went off with the little Missy there because we had an agreement and she bombed that agreement. But it's okay. Kept myself cool, kept myself calm.
Actually, they're doing pretty good considering the fact that they woke up to their Easter baskets and they had some candy for breakfast.
Yeah, these mythical creatures sometimes need to get. We could have left some carrots. Wait, he could have. The thing or whatever could have. We're gonna have to leave a note.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that is one of the big changes, you know, outside of awareness, outside of being conscious of this. We went further and further and further into the no sugar, no flour, no nothing thing, to the point to where when our children eat sugar, it's like an instant, unfortunate drug that takes over. And even last year, I began to experience the extreme downsides of sugar. I almost instantly get headaches, body hurts, digestive issues, all the things that we're not aware of, we become aware of again as our bodies transition out of being well adjusted to this stuff.
Yeah.
You know, outside of the Optimized Coach program, I'm also into holistic health, lifestyle, and teachings and learnings. And the more that I get into that, the more I begin to realize that, yeah, okay, you know, you see these levels. And we are walking zombies. You know, if you have a intolerance to chicken or your body has a allergic reaction to chicken, but you constantly eat chicken, your body's eventually going to say, dude, whatever, I tried to warn you. You didn't listen. I'm good. Same thing happens with sleep. Same thing happens with anything. And when we lose that ability to be aware of our body and its current status, that's when you begin to feel dis-ease, which turns into disease, which equals cancer and other life-threatening illnesses because we've lost the ability to stay connected with our body. So it's kind of interesting because going back to the sleep thing, like I can fully say, hey, Optimize, thank you for improving my sleep. But at the same time, now if I get a really crappy night of sleep, I feel it.
Yeah.
Like it
It
sucks.
definitely makes you so much more aware.
Yeah.
We Mike started first with his Aura ring and tracking his sleep through that. And then for my birthday last year, he got me my Aura ring so I could track my sleep and everything. And I like to say it's both a blessing and a curse. because when you are fully aware and paying attention, and you start really getting in tune with your body, you really do feel it. Like you feel it when you're on, and you really feel it when you're off.
Yeah, you do.
And it's just, before, especially when you're like watching what you're eating and you're watching what you're consuming as far as drinks and stuff go, before it would just be, okay, I'm tired, wake up with like 4 hours of sleep and it's just tired. So then you like just pound a couple Monsters or energy drinks or, and you kind of mask it. But when you're not doing that anymore, when you're down to like having just like maybe 1 or 2 cups of coffee in the morning, and you're no longer trying to mask the symptoms, it's just like, dang.
Yeah, it's one of those things where like, it's awesome to be able to realize that, hey, I was that screwed up and I didn't even know it.
Yeah.
Like, I see these guys rolling around and they're drinking Monster energy drinks at 7 in the morning. Like if you're popping a Monster energy drink at 7 and then another one or another one after that, all I can say is you're eventually going to crash. And Ariana Huffington, I think we got it here, right?
Probably.
This lady right there, Ariana Huffington, in the sleep revolution, well, she did the same thing. And she kept running and running and running and running until she eventually crashed. And that crash was she passed out in her office, woke up in a pool of blood, and her body finally said, enough's enough. Right? When you, like, if you're running your entire life on coffee and stimulants, what you're doing is you're tricking your body. Your body is telling you, hey, I'm tired. Like it says, hey, I'm tired. And that coffee or those stimulants slide right in between there to where your body's like, oh, I guess I'm not tired, huh? Whatever. But because you're tricking that and you're stealing energy that doesn't exist, you're eventually going to crash. And I see people doing it. And that's one of the biggest things I can say is I can wake up in the morning and be just fine without a cup of coffee. Usually when I'm working, I don't drink coffee until just before an exercise to use it as a mini stimulant to go through that. And, it's because I like the taste of coffee.
Yeah.
And because I put butter and heavy whipping cream in it, that's a bulk majority of some of my calories in the day. And that helps me not have to eat breakfast in the morning and this and that. But that is one of these things with becoming aware is you become absurdly aware.
Yeah. And you truly do feel the effects of things. And it's not a pleasant experience. So we have what we call our cheat day. Our kids they used to love it. They'd say, oh, Saturday, it's our cheat day. So we eat very clean and healthy Monday through Friday. And then Saturday, we dive in and we just eat all the junk that we want to. And am I not loud enough? Sorry. And those days on Saturdays, it's like a reminder of why we eat so healthy, why we started eating so healthy. And it's funny because at first, when we first started doing this, we'd go like hog wild. Like on Saturdays, we'd go shopping and our cart was nothing but ice cream and candy and frozen pizzas and
it was
potato chips and just
crappy food
everything
imaginable.
that you could imagine. Like that was all it was on. Like we'd spend like a small fortune on just junk food, and we'd feel so horrible at the end of the day.
Yeah, well,
and it was almost like we'd have like a like a hangover
Yeah.
on Sunday. Sunday was just like when you woke up, you were just like, you felt everything that you ate on Saturday. It just all caught up to you during the night, and it was not pleasant. So like, as we've gone through this for over a year, couple years now, it's funny because our cheat days are just like, eh.
Yeah, honestly, like when it makes you feel horrible, I don't have a desire. I don't really have a desire to get migraines or
Mm-mm.
have stomach issues or feel like I have a hangover from eating some stuff. Now, the ironic thing is, and I think we're going to transition more to it, if we bake our own things, it's not as bad.
Right.
You eat the processed food, it sucks.
Mm-hmm.
So our little girl's super into baking,
Yes.
and about one of the only ways that we can like support her without developing her into a sugar addicted individual is to go down a gluten-free path. And one of the only true sugars that isn't really bad for the body is the actual organic version of stevia. It's going to be green. It's not going to be white. It's actually green. So we'll probably be exploring that with her, and I'm looking forward to that because I'm looking forward to see, okay, how am I going to feel the day after we do that?
Yeah.
Am I going to feel the same or am I going to feel differently?
Mm-hmm.
Switching from processed crap to organic gluten-free, what's it going to be like? Like, I'm really interested to see that, so I get to benefit her and I get to still have a cheat day
It's also a little
that's
experimental.
also hopefully not so absurdly destructive to my body. Because I mean, yesterday, I look at it yesterday, we made French toast in the morning,
Mm-hmm.
and that was the only sugar that I had. I had no desire to go munch down a bunch of crap because it makes me feel horrible.
Yeah.
And by being aware of my body, and as we're going through these stages of health, and you'll go through them too if you make changes, it's in stages.
Yep.
You'll get to that point to where like, yeah, the sugar's right there in front of you, but you want no part of it because
Yeah.
it's gonna make you feel horrible.
Even
And
our kids have slowed down on cheat days. They don't really care to go all out and just eat whatever they can get their hands on anymore. Like they're very specific on what a few of their favorite candies are or favorite treats are, and they kind of alterate them throughout like the different cheat days. So they get like a variety of, throughout the month. But they don't, especially our poor little Dean. He had a birthday cake, and for my sister's birthday in February, and man, he got home and he just threw up everywhere, and it's just like
yeah,
I felt so bad for him, and he goes, I can't. He goes, I just can't do it anymore, Mom. He goes, like, he goes, I overdid it, and he goes, he actually didn't have like that next Saturday. He didn't eat any sugar whatsoever. Like he ate like some of his favorite carbohydrates. He had his favorite Taki chips. And,
yeah, and I've noticed the difference too between sugar
like,
and carbs.
Yeah, and so it's like it's funny to see even our, now 11, 8, and 5-year-olds, even them changing the way that they eat on their cheat days too. Like they're aware of how food interacts with their body and how it makes them feel, and they choose they're very cautious on what they choose because they know that they don't want to feel that way again. And it's really, it's like I said, it's a blessing, and it's both both a blessing and a curse, because you kind of you get those cravings every now and then, and so when you get the cravings, you go for it. Then once you've gone for it, there's no going back, and you have to deal with the aftermath of how you're feeling afterwards.
Yeah. Well, I do have to say that Optimize has done really well at designing a program that cultivates that awareness.
Yeah, definitely.
And then it's up to you. Like everything in life is up to you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if me and Holly are trying to coach you or help you, it doesn't matter. I could say, hey, this is exactly what you need to do to feel better. If you don't want to do it, if you don't feel like doing it, if you don't think it's worth anything and you don't do it, it doesn't matter what I say. What matters is what you do. And by cultivating this awareness and taking ownership of your life, it's up to you what you do with it, right?
Yes.
You could take that data from Sunday and be like, I feel just like trash. And be like, you know what? Let's do it again. We got leftovers in the fridge. We still got some pop left. We still got this. You could ignore that data and go right back into it. Or you could take that data and be like, you know what? What happened? Like, exactly what was it? And you've seen us. We're pretty specific about, well, I know this is what did it.
Yeah.
Like, we're getting down to the nitty gritty on like, this is what did it. And I'm right there with Holly. It is a blessing and a curse because it's awesome. It's awesome that I can wake up on Sunday and be like, I feel like trash. And I can make the mindful decision of, I don't want to do that again.
Yeah.
And so then, like, you can begin to narrow down the things that are truly pleasurable and bring joy to your life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, a bunch of the candy that's out there, I really have no desire to eat it now. Like, it makes me feel horrible. It lasts for 30 seconds and it doesn't do anything really. Now, when I first started this thing and getting rid of sugar and everything, my deal was ice cream. And I went through the ice cream phase, and then the ice cream phased out. And I really don't even care for ice cream anymore. It's really good. But now when I eat that processed stuff, it just tastes like chalk to me. And so it's really weird and specific, but no matter what happens, when you get data, it's up to you to make a mindful decision of what you're going to do with it. You can either use it or ignore it. And that's what Optimize does. You know, one of my biggest weaknesses as an Optimize coach is I'm not the greatest at doing the Carpe Diem. Like, that's still like journaling and doing the Carpe Diem for me. It ain't my thing. But if I don't do it, I'm not holding myself accountable to those things. Like they make you do, if you want to be a coach, I don't know if that's going to be the requirement this year, but if you want to be a coach, it's 200 of these things to graduate.
Yeah. I'm already at, today was 91. I would have been in well into the 100, but things happen.
Things happen. Your schedule blew up. You went off the rails. Maybe went down into a cavern or two, popped back out the other side. It's okay. Life happens.
Hills and valleys, let me tell you, hills and valleys. But, you know, that's been another part of it too, is I'm still not very good at doing the journaling part of it. I try to journal as much as I can, but it's not my daily thing. It's not a daily routine yet. Yeah. But the Carpe Diems, I use that kind of as a way of journaling. Mm-hmm.
It's really good to get the big picture.
Yeah. Well, and, you know, and writing down, you know, you've got your identities. And when I fill out those identities, you know, that I try not to use the same identity over and over again. Mm-hmm. I try to write down what I'm feeling at the time for the day. And it's not what do I want to identify as, it's what I need to identify as is what I put down. Because one of the things that I've noticed is sometimes what I want to do and what I need to do are two completely different things.
Yep.
And so I use that as a way to force myself to, it's like, nope, okay, you need to go down this track. You're starting to veer off. So I use my carpe diems to keep me in a straight line.
Yeah.
I mean, our success is never straight. You know, we zigzag all over the place when it comes to, to business successes and everything. You know, it's never a straight line, as we've all been learning. You know, we're going to have our ups and our downs, and we're going to get turned around and twisted, and then we're going to go back up, and then, that's the whole thing of spiraling up.
Yes.
But we can control who we identify as, and we can control what we do throughout the day.
Yeah.
And that's what I use it for. It's actually helped me pull myself out of depression too.
Yeah, it's a fantastic tool. And you just heard how it develops and cultivates awareness. Whether or not you think it is, it is.
Yeah.
And because I've done it for so long, I kind of know what I'm paying attention to, so I can do it in the moment, I guess, is where I'm at with a lot of it. Like, I can do it in the moment. I know who I want to be. I know all of that in the end. And if I'm aware of myself, I'm able to shift and reset in the moment.
Yeah.
So, some of the greatest days are when they're really going horrible, when they're going south, and you catch it and you're like, you know what? No. And you turn it around and you get back on track, and you get back to being that person that you say you want to be. After you journal or do the Carpe Diem and identify those identities and begin to pay attention and begin to highlight what you know you need to do, and pay attention to what you're actually doing, then you're able to, after a while, turn it around in the moment.
Yeah.
If your identity's been like for exercise, my identity has been a mobile Spartan. So I'm a mobility guy that believes in some strength-based training every now and then. So if I'm not doing mobility work, or I'm not lifting heavy things, I'm not actually living up to myself. And I don't need the Carpe Diem to say that. I know what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And if I'm not doing that, then I can have the conversation with myself to say, what the hell, Mike? You're not doing what you know you're supposed to do. And then you can turn around in the moment, hopefully.
Yeah.
That's kind of one of the ultimate things, is being able to be the highest version of yourself, the best version of yourself right now, moment to moment to moment. Live your life with virtue or arete, and direct your life towards a purpose.
Yeah. So it's like on my journey of reconnecting with Holly, not with mom or wife or whatever, with my connection.
Tell me you're not just a mom.
No, I'm not. I'm beyond the caretaker and the maid and the cook and the nurse and the teacher and the student, and there's an actual person in here. And reconnecting with me, there are some days where it kind of gets a little daunting, or it still doesn't feel it's not a natural thing.
It can
for
be
me
overwhelming.
Still. Yeah, it can be very overwhelming, and it's still not something that's completely natural with me, taking care of myself or putting myself before everybody else. That's still not a natural thing for me. So that's where my Carpe Diem really comes in handy, because there'll be on the mornings that I wake up and I don't feel like doing my meditation, or if I see myself going on a different direction, like the kids wake up shortly after I do, instead of me getting my hour time before they wake up, I make sure that nope, you have this on your Carpe Diem. You need to do these steps to take care of you. The kids they'll be just fine. They've got their breakfast. They're sitting there. They're doing just fine. You need to do this to take care of you for right now. And that's really helped me in keeping the role going. So hopefully, before too much longer, I won't even have to think about it anymore. I won't have to depend on the Carpe Diem to do the things that are important to me to take care of me first. I'll be able to just naturally start doing them. But for right now, the Carpe Diem is what's keeping me in the routine and in the mindset of changing the belief system that I don't have to take care of myself to take care of others. It's helping me in revising that belief system that yes, and saying, yeah, you do. You need to take care of yourself, because in order to really truly be there 100% for everybody else, you need to be taking care of yourself first. So you can carry on that strength for two, and without exhausting yourself, or and sometimes, the meltdowns that I've had.
Yeah. No, it comes around.
Yeah, it does. It comes around.
So we've talked about self-awareness.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about Carpe Diem and how that helps cultivate self-awareness. One of the side benefits of optimizing yourself and becoming aware is the increase in your ability to be a better parent.
Yes.
A lot of the times in life, when we react a way that we're not a fan of, it's because we generally don't have the tools to act appropriately in that situation. And like one of the biggest side benefits of Optimize was it gave you the tools of self-awareness to where when you're interacting with children, you can then begin to turn those tools into actionable items for children. I mean, our kids watch Plus Ones with us.
Yes.
And all these things. But one of the biggest deals is the fact that they provide the best training ground you're ever going to receive in life for dealing with events and moments.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to have a situation where you have a conversation with an adult and you say, hey, I'm going to be in here from this time to this time. It would really be really appreciated if you didn't come in to my room. I'm going to be studying here for the next hour. Can you please leave me alone? They're not going to pop in the door in a half an hour and play in the background and entertain themselves, because that's what happened here, right? Merida, she constantly wants to be in videos, but she doesn't want to be in the videos. She just wants to like be playing in the background or do this or do that. And so, there's some tools in Optimize that teach you ohms. Obstacles make me stronger.
Mm-hmm.
You can use that one. There's a tool where they talk about a hero's fire and how you want to be anti-fragile. And an anti-fragile person, the bigger the problem, the stronger you get. Obstacles make me stronger.
Mm-hmm.
When you're throwing wood into a fire, it's going to grow. Wind makes that fire grow. But if you're dealing with a little candle, it'll go out. And Optimize really gives you the tools to be aware enough to where your patience increases. You begin to view little small challenges as a opportunity to prove to yourself who you really are.
Mm-hmm.
And it really does highlight your deficiencies as a parent.
Yeah. I've definitely noticed that I've been a lot more patient with the kids. I thought I was doing pretty awesome for a while until I really started, like I said, changing the belief system that, I have to take care of myself before taking others. Once I started doing that, I've noticed that my patience has really grown. I'm more patient with the kids. I can communicate better with the kids. It's not I don't always have to, I don't have that sternness all the time. I can actually get down to their level and interact with them in a way to where they feel like they're being heard, that they're being respected as well. And I've noticed that in the consequence of that is them showing the same amount of respect and listening to me as well.
Yeah.
I always say that there's consequences for your actions, no matter what, for the things that you do. You do something positive, you're going to have a positive consequence. If you do something negative, there's going to be a negative consequence. There's always a consequence. And I've noticed the more that I go through the program and I develop and learn more about myself and change what needs to be changed, the more it's affecting the family as well.
Mm-hmm.
Our communication skills and levels are doing amazing. Emotional levels are stabilizing, and we're coming together stronger as a family. Our team unit is coming together stronger. We're doing more together than we were before. And it's another awareness. You think that you're doing things awesome and amazing, and you're doing, you think you're rocking it, and then the more you learn about yourself and you get some of these other tools going and you start utilizing them and start putting them out there, it's like a light bulb. It's like an aha moment. It's like, oh wow, this actually gives me a much better response or reaction than doing this.
Yeah.
And it smooths out the edges of all these rough edges from, it's kind of like that thing that your dad says, thinking and knowing. You think that you're doing something and you're rocking it, and you're not getting the exact results that you're hoping for, but you just stick with that plan. Well, you change the plan a little bit and you smooth out those edges. If the roughness inside of you, then it smooths out everything else as well.
Because you're not you've lost the reactability.
Yeah.
You're not reacting to them like you once used to.
Yeah.
You've lost that. You know who you want to be.
Yeah.
You try to live up to that. And I still fail at it. I still end up getting angry, upset, and frustrated. But you know what? There's always levels to this stuff, and I am getting much better at that. Because one of the tools that they talk about, and I'm horrible at this stuff because I never remember their names, but they talk about, imagine somebody is filming your life, right? You've got a camera on you at all times.
Mm-hmm.
Or how are you going to react when the whole world is watching? Mm-hmm. And then act like that all the time.
Yeah.
And that tool, lo and behold, translates perfectly to children.
Yeah.
I mean, me and Holly, we've been through a couple different parenting programs.
Mm-hmm.
And they're awesome. They're great. They teach tools, but that's all they were. They were just tools. I think one of the bigger underlying events is, as we're working on discovering and cultivating our purpose in life, we're also doing the same for our children. And life's a lot different when you live with a child who is working towards their purpose in life.
Yeah.
Whether it's our oldest son who's into, he wants to be a YouTube guy. So I'm using the tools to say, hey, look, this is who you say you want to be. Mm-hmm. This is what you're actually doing. There's a discrepancy there. What are you doing? And what do you want to do? Mm-hmm. And so we've gotten him on film a few times. We're getting him into music. We're supporting him on that. Our middle son's into survival and stuff. We've talked about that a few times. We're supporting him on that, even though that's severely uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But you know what? I mean, they've both got axes and knives, and they start fires, and we've had zero catastrophic events. We've had a lot of moments that are like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa, bro. Check yourself.
Check yourself.
Think about it. I mean, and then our little girl's into baking. So like she does these weird little things where she'll take her little baking kits and she puts it on the lip of our pellet stove to heat it up. She makes these little things with peppers and onions and butter, and they're disgusting, but she makes these little things, and like this morning, like she came in and she's like, "Hey, here, Dad, check it out." And she had a little saucer with melted chocolate, and she had a pretzel that she broke up. She goes, "Do you want a chocolate covered pretzel?" And she made these little things, and it was like, "Wow, that's actually really good."
Yeah.
And so when we support them in that way, life began to change drastically.
Yeah.
Um, I just read a fantastic book on communication that talks about how we're all here to basically do two things: either maintain the life that we have or improve it in some form or fashion. And when you look at a conversation with another person, you can begin to see why other people are going to react the way they do. If that then becomes, "Hey, I'm going to take this away from you because of X." Well, now they're losing, so they're going to go into a defense mode
Yeah.
automatically.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if you flip it on there, and if you flip it and begin to think about, okay, if I'm going to go in with a negative attitude and be confrontational without thinking about their side, it's
Yeah.
likely going to go downhill.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot who said it, but the way that you start a conversation is generally the way that it's going to end.
Yeah.
And all these tools and optimize, whether it's obstacles make me stronger, or the camera, or the awareness, or the
Mm-hmm.
gratitude journal, like it all carries over everywhere
Yeah.
in every facet of your life. You're going to see an improvement. We could sit here all day and be like, "Oh, this is better, that's better,
Yeah.
that's better," because our exercise is better,
Yeah.
our eating's better, our sleeping's better,
Yeah.
our breathing's better, our
Mm-hmm.
thinking's better.
And it all comes together though. I mean, it all connects. Everything connects together, when you eat better and um you're moving around and you're getting your exercise in, then your body feels better. You're able to actually relax and you're able to get into that deep sleep. And it
Mm-hmm.
all interconnects with each other. Your eating, sleeping, and your movement also connects to your mental, emotion, and emotional state as well.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. When you're physically feeling good and you're doing what you need to do to take care of yourself, your mental and emotional state gets a big boost as well. It all starts to balance out. And when you stop taking care of one part of you, like when you're, for instance, I've lost a lot of sleep over this past month. I've had a lot of ups and downs in my sleep, and my body feels it
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. You
It's
start
like,
feeling lower back pain.
yeah,
And
exactly. And then then when my body was hurting because I wasn't getting the sleep that I needed, I stopped doing exercise, and I started going
It's
into
a
a
cycle.
spiral.
Yeah.
It is a cycle, and I started to go on a downward spiral, and mentally and emotionally I was feeling drained. And I mean, I just like sit there and I just have like these outbursts of just horrible, ugly sobbing, crying. And
Yeah.
I just wasn't, part of it was missing my dad, but part of it was also because I was missing my dad, I wasn't taking care of myself anymore. I'd stay up and I was thinking about, oh well, this is everything I was missing, and it affected me. So how you talk to yourself, and the things that you have in your mind, the things that you're thinking, they affect you drastically too, and how you respond to things. So gratitude has been the biggest thing that we've been talking about. Instead of me sitting there, and once I flipped that switch and I started trying to find, I was every one negative that I found, I tried to find at least one, but up to 3 positives.
Good.
So when I was sitting there, I found myself sitting there thinking, this is going to be the first birthday that he's not going to be here for Colin,
Mm-hmm.
and the first Easter that we're missing with him. Instead of sitting and dwelling on that, I was thinking, you know what? He's still here with us. He might not be here in body, but he's still here in spirit. he's not having to live through this chaos that we're all in right now, you know, with having to be in quarantine. We wouldn't be able to be hanging out with him anyway. You know, there's a lot more good to come out of it than there is bad at this point in time, because I can't see him, Mr. Social, super social, having to be in a quarantine where, you know, he'd be itching and dying right now going, I got to get out there. I got to see everybody, you know? And so I've been trying to switch my focus as of finding that instead of seeing it all on the negative side, seeing it on like some kind of a positive, even if I have to tweak the negative a little bit to turn it into a positive, that's been helpful. And within doing that, I've been finding that I'm able to sleep better. And, you know, I started going outside and getting silly with the kids. That was another part of it is I was noticing that, you know, I was really getting down. So, and I wasn't being there as a mom. And so I said, you got to stop doing this. In my Carpe Diem, I put, you know, I needed to be a playful soul is what my love was identified as a playful soul. And because I wrote that down and I'm dedicated to being this person, I'm dedicated to optimizing myself and following through with what I put down on these Carpe Diems. I went out and I was running around playing tag with Merida. So I was getting exercise in, I was playing with our kids, and I was starting to feel better. You know, it's just like you get the benefit so much when you start really following through with things and you're able to flip that switch.
Yeah.
And flipping that switch and following through with things has been makes all the difference, you know. Like I said, I don't use my Carpe Diems of what I want to do. I use them as this is what you need to do.
Fantastic.
So I can get back on track if I fall off track. And then I can just, you know, hopefully just keep staying on track on the days that I'm not on track or the days that I have not filled out a Carpe Diem.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Right? You can fall off. Like Optimize teaches real early that they want you to be able to turn it around, flip the switch, and duct tape that thing into the on position.
Yeah.
Well, that takes a lot of work.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I gave a talk, I don't know, 2-ish years ago on how, like, the ultimate goal in life is being able to flip, just turn it around all the time. Your mentality and your thinking. Like, if you can just reset constantly, like, okay, well, that sucked. Okay, well, flip it around. What's the positive of it? I mean, I gave that years ago, but it doesn't make it any easier.
No.
When you're in the moment trying to live with a life that's constantly in movement and constantly in rotation. I mean, you know, I don't know if you're up for it, but I think talking about your dad's death and how you moved through it and how I moved through it would be a very enlightening conversation.
Yeah.
Probably for me, maybe for you, because we went through it in 2 completely different methods, I think.
Yeah, we did.
And I think that's due to the fact that it was your dad, due to the fact that I've got a few different thoughts about what death is, what death isn't. It could be some of the tools that I used. I think that would be really interesting to discuss it, highlight the downsides of it for you, because it affected your life, which affected everybody around you.
Yeah.
And just kind of go through that, because those big moments in life are the time to where you want the training to kick in.
Yeah.
And you train for those moments on small moments so that you show up on the big scale moments. I mean, I've been good with the big moments for years, but I suck at the small moments. Like, that's my Achilles heel. So over this year, it's like, why can't you handle the small things? Why are you good? Like, somebody dies, well, okay, I'm okay.
Yeah,
like, I can handle that.
Yeah.
Like, big life events I can handle, but it's a small event. So punch me in the friggin' face,
Yeah.
knock me to the floor, and then I spiral out of control. And then hopefully if I'm flipping the switch the right way or flipping the right switch,
Yeah.
I
And
can-
I'm the complete
I can
opposite
reset.
though. I can handle the small things. I do really good with the small things. But in these big events, I'm becoming more resilient, but I am so far, and I will admit, I'm the farthest away from being anti-fragile when it comes to these big major events. And, you know, and I don't know if you would agree with this, but I mean, this is the second time, this is the second biggest loss that I've had, in 3 years. I lost my grandma, who I was extremely close with 3 years ago. And I stopped existing.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't here. And Mike actually got scared, and he started screaming and yelling at me, trying, you need to get out of this. You're going down you're not here anymore. Come back to life, and I eventually did. It took Mike having to really work hard. Thank you, love. It took Mike doing that to pull me out of it. I did not handle it at all. I just laid down and I stopped existing as a person, as a mother, as anything for 3 days. And but with the passing of my dad, which was actually harder because it was nothing that we had ever anticipated. I mean,
that was instant.
It was an instant thing, and there was no signs of it coming or anything. I mean, he died of a heart attack, and there is no signs of it coming on. We had no clue, nothing. There was nothing. It was very unexpected. And I actually have been handling it better. I mean, I still have moments of like these big hills and valleys, but I think part of it too is you've coached me through it though.
Yeah,
that's been different. The biggest difference is, and it's been kind of, I don't know, it's been different seeing you actually use the coaching tools.
Oh, good.
During the process, because it's like, at first it made me kind of angry. It's like, I'm angry right now. I'm feeling sad right now. Don't use your optimized crap on me. Don't do that. Just don't. I just wanted to be angry, but I mean, you helped pull me out of that. You were very persistent, and I can't explain it. It's just, you were able to use the proper tools to counteract anything that I was doing. And it helped, and it worked. And you forced me. You said, hey, you know what? You haven't done this today. Where's your carpe diem? You noticed the difference in me. When I stopped doing my carpe diems, that's when I really started to spiral downward. And you were saying, hey, you haven't sat down today and written your carpe diem. Where's it at? And when I started doing that again, yep. And like I said, that is my solid rock right there. The carpe diems is, they make me say, okay, this is not who you want to be, but this is who you need to be right now.
Yeah, it's a director.
It is. It's a very big director. And once you start getting into that and you use using the tools that Optimize offers you, and all the knowledge and wisdom that they give you, it's just, if you really work the program and if you really follow through and do the steps, it's amazing. It's life-changing. It really is.
It is.
I mean, if we were to be in the same position that we were 3 years ago when my grandma passed.
Yeah, you would have been in the bed back there. Gone.
Who knows?
Sinking into depression again, because that is exactly what happened. You went into a deep depression.
I did.
And you dipped down in depression on this one, like you said, you'd come out of it, then you dip back down and come out of it. And it was playing that cycle. And I think that's honestly going to be the topic of next week here, is navigating a loss like that. I mean, you've been able to, I think you're in a point now to where you can look back and say, okay, well, I think this is where I was failing and this is how I overcame that.
Yeah.
Or this is where I was failing. This is what was said that helped me, because, you know, there's hundreds of tools out there.
Yeah.
There's so many different tools that you can have in your armory to pull out to use. And the ironic thing is they can help drastically, even though you don't feel like using them. And I think you highlighted that, like, you didn't want to use any of this stuff, but because you knew the benefits of it, you began to do it again. And that's when you would, like, Ray Dalio's got his little spiral model. Is cool because it's a bunch of little curly cues, because you're on the way up. He's got a little video if you want to watch them. They're called Principles. Ray Dalio Principles. And his videos show the guy where he's walking and he'll trip over a rock and then you fall down. And then you use that falling as momentum to discover why you fail, how you fail, and then you kick yourself up to another level where you're going to trip again. Yep. And then you do it over and you do it over and you do it over and you spiral up.
Yeah.
And that's the whole point of, like, okay, well, that sucked. Why did it suck? And where can we improve it in the future?
Yeah.
And yeah, there was a drastic difference between you this time versus you a few years ago.
Yeah. But, you know, and I wish I would have, I have them saved. I have them, when you watch the plus ones and you watch the philosopher's notes, you have the little heart that you can put, you know, click on it for your favorites. And I did that for all the ones that I was watching that kind of helped me pull back out of that, when I, that downward spiral that I was going into. And I can go through and I can kind of make a list of some of those, because, you know, there are so many people who are out there that are hurting right now, for many reasons with all this craziness that's going on. But I can tell you that there's been a couple of the plus ones and philosopher notes, which I should have written down and I didn't for this discussion, but that were just, it was almost like and I would just type in required. To make sure I was getting everything I needed. And it was like some of even the older ones, it was just like they were placed there, like they popped up and it was just like, they popped up as I was meant to hear this. This is what, it was almost like, this is what you need today, Holly. And it was like, it just, some of the ones that popped up, it was just like, I wound up finding myself really resonating with them and going, okay. This is what I needed to hear. And like I said, I have them. I tagged a little heart on those. So I'll have to go through and I'll have to write some of them down, but so I can share them, because there's been a couple of them where it's just eye-opening to, you know, it's okay. This is how you're feeling, but you know, you can do this, this, and this to pull yourself out of it. Instead of seeing it this way, see it this way. And it was just like, okay. Like I said, I'm going to go through and it doesn't make any sense right now because I don't remember the names of them, but, I'll write them down. I'll go back through my account. I'll write down the names of them and I'll post them on the Optimize, on my Optimize website. And I'll say, these are the ones that I was talking about in the discussion that we had today.
Okay.
But yeah.
Well, we're at our hour limit, so if you're still here, thank you. If you're not, it's up to you. Either way, next week we'll be talking about some stuff, mainly how to move through something large. And we look forward to seeing you there. But have yourself a good day.
Bye, guys.